Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Coding on Swiboe. So, what do we do today? First, top of the show business. Not much. I started working on refactorings towards the RSC for the RPC that we have in the repo. So, the first thing there is to no longer allow the same RPC name everywhere. So, at least the implementer has to be different. That means wrapping tearing out a hash map and replacing it through a B-tree map and changing the way it is traversed in some places. And I made some good progress there, but it's not yet ready for prime time. And then after the last stream, not directly after the last stream, but somewhere around that time, I spent some time with the dude. The dude is his handle on our Gitter chat, gitter.im/Swiboe. And he made really strong initial dent into a Node.js client, basically a client very similar to the Python client we are writing right now, that wraps the C API and provides a Node, like a JavaScript interface to that. And we ran into a bug when we worked on that a little bit. That Node is single-threaded, which doesn't work really nicely with our assumptions here. But it was already a very strong start, and I think that can be wrapped into something that works with Node's async facilities. I hope. I mean, I have no idea. I never worked with JavaScript really, so I have no idea. That's it? Yes, that's it. Okay, so let's continue. Where did we stop the last time? So we had a couple of tests and all of them still ran. That's nice. And we were introducing a result type in our API so that every function that can fail actually returns a result type. And that is something that we definitely want to continue and finish. And then we want to reconsider, because I really want that our library crashes whenever the user, like the caller of our library, gives it bogus data. But of course, we cannot crash if we receive bogus data from the network. So what that concerns mainly is the function that we have that changes a C string to JSON. Because if we only use that when we get a JSON string from our users of the API, then this should always crash, right? This to do here we would actually like to fix. We have invalid in UTF-8, then we blow up. If we have invalid JSON, then we blow up as well. But when we get a JSON string from the network and we have to convert it somehow and pass it back to our callers, then invalid JSON and invalid UTF-8 must be errors, because it's nothing that the user made wrong. It's like invalid data from the network. Okay, but let's first finish up the result stuff. Where are we? This has a result, this has a result, this has a result. This Swiboe OK, that takes a JSON object, so that must blow up, and otherwise it cannot fail. This can never fail. This is the same, that must blow up if something is invalid, otherwise it cannot fail. And this already has a result, this has a result. Why are there? Oh, there are not. I thought there were two blank lines, but they are not. Finish. That's it. Finish should also return a result. And where are we using finish? Here, so that should be okay. This should be okay. This should be okay. This should be okay. This should be okay. Wow, there are many of those. Okay, we got all of them. Yes. And now, while we're on it, let me change the OK function Oh no, that's right. Like underscore. The underscore in Python for a private object is at the beginning of the identifier. Because in C++ it's at the end, and I'm always like confused. Okay, so the Python code seems right. We changed the all the call sites. We changed the definition. Now we also have to change the code, of course. So this one is now returning a C API result. And what can happen? So we get the context and we consume the context, right? We like transmute it into a box. And the same for the RPC result. We also consume that. Here we print something. I don't think we need that anymore. And here we actually do a try C API call, right? That should work. And then here we just return success. I think that should already be it, maybe. Oh no! What did I mess up? Object has no attribute OK underscore. True? It's underscore OK. Wonderful. Beautiful. Nice. Really, really nice. What else do we have? So we have RPC. So we just did this one. This one already returns a result. What is this? RPC result is okay. Well, yes, I think that's fine returning a Boolean here, right? And then unwrap, basically by the definition of unwrap, should blow up when there is a problem. It should not actually return an error. Receive, this definitely has to change. And I think that's also the last one. Then we still have update, but that already returns a result object. Okay, so we have to change receive to actually hand in a pointer to a cchar pointer, right? What was the return object before? We actually have now, we have to pass it in as an output parameter, and it returns a result. And now we probably don't use that very often. Yeah, just in those cases here. Okay, maybe we refactor them a bit. So when we say we have a JSON string object, and that is actually a cchar pointer, and now we say self OK. Self library, like something like this, right? Self library Swiboe client context receive, and we have to by ref this JSON string into this, and I think I have it like so, right? I didn't import that properly. I should probably do that. And now we can do this asset equal. And say, well, JSON string should now be this, right? And I think like so. Yes. And now we basically just repeat this here and here. And then we change this to read again JSON string. And here too. Now I really hope that Python does the right thing with memory management here. I'm really not fully confident that it does. And it's interesting what happens now, right? So basically we say now we receive again. Here we do very much the same thing. But of course we don't actually, like there's nothing more to receive. So the receive call will succeed, but it will not return any value. It is like returning none in Rustland, but I'm not sure how we can actually like check for that. If I say is JSON string now null, that's definitely not the case. I need something like checking for a null pointer in C types. Filthy Rush, hey, good morning. He asks in the stream chat how long I have been coding. I've been coding about 25 years, I think, approximately. There's null pointer. Yeah, that's what I want, right? I want a pointer, something like that, maybe. Maybe. So I can check now that this is actually a null pointer, like so, hopefully. If I say I have a C void pointer, just like so, hopefully. Hopefully that works like that. But now we actually have to make sure that we set the null pointer too, right? Before we actually, what did we do before actually in the receive call? So in the receive call, so here we now take a mutable to a const cchar pointer, right? That is our new parameter that we take in, which is our result, maybe. Let's call it JSON C string. That's much better. And here we return a C API object. And now the first thing we actually have to do is we have to null this pointer. That sucks. All of that is that's not pretty, right? What happens if somebody passes us a allocated pointer and we essentially have to make sure that this object is null pointer. So we would like to have something like assert that JSON C string. We already we want to make sure that we only get a null pointer, something like that. I don't remember how we actually. That's what we need. We need pointer null, right? And we don't want an assert. We want an assert equal. And then the expected value usually goes first, except when you're programming in Java, where everything is different. And we expect the input parameter to be an unallocated string. And then, of course, our test, like I wrote it, doesn't work anymore. So, right, we actually have to recreate this value every time again to make sure that it's a null pointer again. So basically before here and before here and before here should work like that. The question in stream chat is what the languages that I like best. I think the right answer there is always choose the right tool for the right job. So for example, if you want to do Android programming, you have to use Java. There are other ways to do Android programming, but none are as well supported. I like Python, but Python doesn't scale really nicely. So as soon as you have like more than 2,000 lines of code, Python becomes a really pain to support. I like C++, but because of its freedom and its expressiveness, but you can shoot yourself in the foot really easily. I really like Rust these days, though I would say I'm just starting out learning the language really, and it sometimes feels very restrictive what the language allows you to do, but I think that's really nice for scaling up. So for bigger projects, I think Rust is a very safe choice these days. Okay. So now we assume that we get a null pointer, and now we can actually allocate our own stuff. So here we can do a try-c API call. And if we get something, actually what do we do now? If we match our, like if we don't get anything, we actually don't have to do anything, right? If we get anything, then we must actually assign JSON C string here, assign to that, and that's actually unsafe, right? I think that should work. And down here we actually return success. And probably we nailed that. Maybe. So the compiler's happy, that's always a good sign. Ooh! Ooh! Boom, crash and burn. So our assertion failed actually. The left is 0, that is precisely right. But JSON C string apparently is not. Why is it not? What did we mess up? So we create an object. Oh, right. Actually not JSON C string must be null pointer, right? I mean, this object is a pointer to a pointer. And of course, this pointer to a pointer always has to be valid. But what it points to has to be null pointer when we create it. Does that make sense? Makes sense to me. So that's what we have to check. But of course, that is now unsafe again, which feels really weird. Like, we probably want to make the unsafe block as small as possible. So we say just the dereferencing is unsafe. And now we run, and buffer size mismatch, it says. Interesting. Buffer size mismatch. That is weird. So let's first clean up this here a little bit. So actually this has to go oh, I think I probably also wrapped something. No, that's fine. That's our C JSON string object. We own this, and then here we can pass ownership of that. So that should work nicely, but apparently something else is wrong. But I'm not sure what it is. So here we have none. So JSON string. What is JSON string though? Why is he unhappy? Yeah, so it must be something with our JSON string object. What is wrong with our JSON string object? What? I guess that is right, but I was really hoping you would convert that to a Python string for me. But maybe I have to tell you that it is a Python string? Nope. Okay, back to Stack Overflow. C-types. C-types C-char-p2 string. No, casting sounds terrible. I would like to tell it that this C-chars-p contains a UTF-8 encoded string, and I would like to pass it. That must be possible. I feel like we also had that already. Why did I forget how to do that? Nah, documentations. Nope, only documentations. String. So what does it say here? So C#P is a null terminated something something. And it says C#P. What? CS value. Value? Is that what it is? Value? Yay, it's value. Value is what we want. And so wherever you use this one, actually use C string value, right? Ah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Now it's complaining that, yeah, of course, that's true. Perfectly fine. So C#P none is not equal to C#P none. What? What? What else do we have besides value? Do we also have something like address also? Address of, oh, I don't know. What if I ask for the value here? If I say value is equal to value, yeah, that works. But then I can just as well check for none, right? Just do it like this. And I think that should be it. Yay! Wonderful. Compiles, runs, no crashes. And I think we're pretty good now with error checking, right? Let's go over them again. That is fine. That's fine. Unwrap. Fine. 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 All good. All good. All good. So we're getting closer. The only thing that remains to be seen is if we actually would like to have this invalid UTF-8 one or not. That is the question. And now let's first make a commit here and say edit result to the remaining C API functions. Okay, and now let's reconsider this UTF-8 stuff. Basically, I think we only use it, like we have C string to string here, and we use that where? So, of course we use it in C string to JSON, where we actually, yeah, here we actually, like, we crash, right? We say expect argument was not a valid UTF-8 encoded string. So now we crash. Wow. I think we just had our first spam bot in our chat. Don't click that links, people. That is probably toxic. Okay, argument was not a valid UTF-8 encoded string, and the same here. Argument was not valid JSON. Ouch. Yeah. Because C-string to JSON we probably only ever use on input, right? Here it is input, here it is input, here it is input. What's that? That's also input. Yeah, so we always use that on input. Converts a string we received from the C API user into a not converts, passes a string we received from C API user to a JSON object, crashes on invalid input, and that's it. And now since we crash in all the paths that are not the happy case, we don't actually need to return a result anymore. We can just say, well, here we go. We just return the value. And then there is like no unwrapping needed anymore because this can either work or it will crash. And then we also rename the function and say to JSON or crash or die. Beautiful. That's much better. I feel much better about that. And then we have the C string to string, which we use where. So here we actually convert a path name or something, but that should also be UTF-8 too. And here we get, that's also input. We all should also crash here. This is also input, right? So that should also be not returning a result, but actually like returning a string, and we don't okay that, and we don't try it because we just die. And then we can move this check to here, and then here we don't have to check anymore. Here we don't have to try. We don't have to try down here. Beautiful. And then we can also say this is to string or die. That makes me much happier, right? Crashing if you get garbage input from your local user, from your library user, is a right thing. That's the right thing to do. Otherwise, you're just masking other errors and it crashes later and it's much harder to find. Converts a C string we got passed is actually better from this API user to a slice string, well, or dies if the input is invalid. Converts a C string we got passed. Of course, it converts a C string that's in the function argument. Converts a passed string. A buffer we got passed from CAPI user, or dies. Yeah, that's better. And we can say the same down here. We can say converts a buffer we got passed from the API user. Of course, to a JSON object that's already a file name, or dies if the input is invalid. Beautiful. Beautiful. And I think that's about it. Let's build that again. Missed some unwraps. Oh! Just give me a second, people. It's Friday. My vacuum starts again. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. So it did compile, and what about the tests? Wonderful. Wonderful. I think we're nearly there. So reconsider this. Should we not crash on that UTF-8 input? Yes, we should, and we do. And some cleanup to be done. We don't use JSON here, we don't use time, and we don't use sys. Missing module docstring, I can live with that. That's still true, needs extending. The client should complain if the same RPC is registered twice. That's actually something that not the client should complain about, but the server should complain about, and that is not something that we will fix here in the Python code. And I think the rest of this file looks really reasonable. The tests are fine. The only thing that's missing now is documentation for our code here, and maybe if there are to-dos in here. No, are there still no comms? Yes, there is. There are a couple of no comms still, 2 exactly. So this one is just a try C API await, so like so. And this one is just a documentation bug, so we can build again, test again. Okay, and it works. Beautiful. So we exactly ran for half an hour now, so I think it's about time to wrap up this stream. I'm rather happy how the C client turned out. We're now mostly done with the C client, and I'm not sure where we should continue. Either we continue adding in features to Swiboe, for example, like approaching the actual edit RPCs that can change a buffer so that we can actually start editing text in Swiboe, which would be nice. Alternatively, we can also write a high-level Python client, right? Because I mean, Python people, they will not like dealing with this sort of low-level API, so they want a very high-level object, and we have to provide that for sure. So I think that's probably more fun. Oh, but there's one more no-com here. What's in here? Aha! We still need one more feature to add, I see. Aha! Where am I? So how many no-coms do we still have? Deletes the object needs to be documented. Yes, I found that. And inspect the error, so we need an unwrap error. And I guess we don't have that, right? We only have a unwrap, but we don't have an unwrap error. So right now, we cannot really inspect if a RPC returns an error. That's true. And that is actually that's something that we have to look at. Yeah, there's no question about that. Okay, so one more feature to add, and we do that on Monday. So next week, a stream will only be Monday and Friday because I'm traveling the rest of the week again. But that will be fine. I think we can wrap up the low-level C client and either on Monday or on Friday. Okay, I'll stick around and stream for a while longer. If there are more questions, please post them now. And then we go from there. Oh, I still have all the node modules here. Let's remove them for now. So 2 no-coms and 1 to do, and then we are about done with the C client. So now we crash on input encoding errors, and we had also some minor cleanups. Does somebody know what to do about spam bots in Twitch? I never had that problem before. Okay, seems like there are no questions. Thanks for watching then, and I'll talk to you on Monday. And of course, I stick around in chat, so just post your questions in chat, and I try to answer in chat. Thanks so much. See